the small details that you paid attention to really don't equate to anything. Burger and fries on a leg day, it's gonna help me grow. That's not. Post-show is not the time to grow muscle at all. I don't care what anybody says, gaining 40 pounds in 6 weeks, and now you gotta come off because now your labs are really fucked. I can't even tell you how many clients who do dumb shit and tear muscles. And there's dudes who are just fucking jacked that can do everything wrong, but that ain't 90% of people. I'm not cooking anybody's kidneys just for a fucking plastic trophy. It's like Nick Walker did a pretty good job controlling his midsection, Arnold, but they caught him a few times.
Yeah, I was very impressed with him. I almost, like, I had him winning even.
Nick's mindset, I think, is one of the best mindsets in bodybuilding, period.
I'm now with Gasp. I've been wearing that stuff for like 7-8 years. I've been knowing them personally. The owner is Michael. He's the greatest guy. He just supports the sport of bodybuilding, putting up events, building community, friendships. It's all about love and positivity. The clothing is very cool. Everyone who's deep into bodybuilding knows GASP stands for bodybuilding. If that's where you want to spend your money on, then use my code and have a good conscience doing so.
Check out the huge summer sale. Add code Leo on Better Bodies and Gasp. Thank everyone who's on this channel, who is supporting. These times are really tough when I lost 2 accounts. So it is even more crucial for me to be able to sustain this. Sending you to my link tree in order to order with my discount codes and support and subscribe to this channel and tell all your friends about it. It's very crucial to me and to the existence of this channel. Thank you so much. All right, fellas, we're back for an episode of the Overcome podcast. I'm here with elite coach, I would say, Chris Tuttle, who has turned pro in 2013 himself. You retired when?
2019.
Okay. And we're going to get into that first, a little bit about his background too. And he has a, I would say, very health conscious approach on bodybuilding, but at the same time, he has very successful bodybuilders that still grow a lot of muscle. So he shows it can be done. And we're going to go into that and a lot more. Chris, thank you for your time first.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
And maybe we start just with your background a little bit, because I feel there's not that much out there. I've seen an interview with Dave Palumbo where you just won the nationals, light heavyweight, up to 198 in 2013. And you kind of said that your wife at the time pushed you, or was it your girlfriend, pushed you to do it. And listening to that, it sounds like, wow, what a supportive wife. Like, she really wanted him to succeed. Maybe because I just learned a bit about it. Go into that.
Yeah, so I turned pro in 2013, and just like to kind of rewind a little bit, I took a hiatus from competing from 2009 to 2012. I finished my school, my master's in nutrition, my internship to become a dietitian, and I didn't really train much. I came off all gear and just did school and trained 3 days per week just for health and studied all the time. And then I got bored, and I'm like, man, I want to get into something. Did a not professional strongman, did a strongman amateur show close to my house. He's one of my good buddies, special strongman, in the end of 2011. And I just ran a basic cycle. And then I did well. I won the class, the division under 230. And then my physique kind of like popped about alive. I'm like, you know what? Maybe I'll just compete for fun in 2012. And I jumped into 2 shows, and I won those shows overalls back to back. And then I was like, well, you know what? Let's try to do pro qualifier before I quit bodybuilding completely. That was the objective, is to do 1 more year and just in my head like grow up. And the woman I was with at the time wasn't really fond of bodybuilding. And everybody to each their own. And I know some people, the lifestyle is not for them, right? And for somebody who doesn't have a background in competing or never competed, they may not understand it. So she did not like competing. So I said to her, I won these 2 shows. I'd love to do a pro qualifier. Just take 1 stab at it, and then I'll be done. And I did North Americans, which is really a funny story about how I ended up 5th, if you want to get into that. But I got 5th, and I was going to be done. And Steve Weinberger, and like once I got off stage, my phone was blowing up. And everybody was trying to get a hold of me, and they knew I was friends with Evan Sinapani. I was good friends with him. So Evan messages me within like 30 minutes of being off stage at the night show, and he's like, dude, everybody's blowing up my phone being like, you should have probably been first or second. You got fifth. Why didn't you have tan on? Like, tell me all the things of prejudging. I'm like, dude, I know I'm done. He goes, no. Everybody's trying to get a hold of you because they want to interview you for you to do nationals. And even Weinberger was like, told Fokker, my coach, he's like, he needs to do nationals in 3 months. And at that time, I was like, no, I'm done bodybuilding. I had no gear left, spent my money. I had nothing. And my wife was like, hold on a minute. You're already lean. You're already in shape. When is nationals? And nationals was 13 weeks away. But we also had a cruise planned.
It's pretty long, yeah.
Yeah, 13 weeks. But we had a cruise planned to 8 weeks out. And she's like...
Oh, a cruise.
Cruise. Yeah. Back in the day, there was no cruising back then. It was just coming off all the way. Yeah. And we had a cruise planned, an 8-day cruise out of New York. And she's like, well, I think you should do it. If you're lean, you should do it. That way there's no... She didn't say this, but I know...
Unfinished business.
She knows if I do it and I seal the deal or not, then I'll be done bodybuilding forever. I know that's where she was coming from. But I went on a cruise 8 weeks out from nationals and it ended up working out. But then I turned pro and I was still going to not compete anymore. Mm-hmm. And then Evan messaged me. He's like, hey, man, would you be interested in being sponsored? And I go, well, I never even thought about it. And he's like, I'm kind of like wrapping up bodybuilding. And he's like, oh, because Animal was asking about you. Universal was asking about you. And I said, well, I know him personally. He's like a very good dude, well-spoken, good integrity. And they're like, well, they want to interview you. And I'm like, oh, okay. So maybe I'm not done bodybuilding. That's how, and yeah, obviously that relationship didn't really work out. Was it just because of bodybuilding? No, other things too. But, you know, she was supportive in that sense, but I wouldn't say she was supportive in regards to like, I was making my own food. I was doing cardio before she woke up in the morning. I would never show her the gear. She would never see it. And I would never talk about it. And when I was with her, I was never talking about bodybuilding either, because I know she didn't like it, you know? Yeah. So that's that story.
It's so funny because in that interview, you were thinking like, wow, what a support. And then it's like, nah, not really. But that's cool because so a lot of people are always like, oh, it takes a village. And I'm like, nope. If you want to do it, you can do it by yourself.
Oh, dude. Look, I've always been a pretty independent person, probably because it's more of a control thing. Like nobody's making my food except me. Yeah. Like nobody's like I'll get my own gear and make sure it's tested and do everything myself. And I will go to the gym by myself. And I was, at the time, I like train by myself anyway. Because when you're in prep, like you got to move at your own pace. And like, if I'm going to do squats, hack squats, and lunges, I'm doing squats, hacks, and lunges today. Not like when you're like, hey man, I want to do leg press. I'm like, well, I don't want to do leg press. You know? So like when I was in prep, I was mostly training by myself.
Don't compromise. Yeah.
No. I got to do what I got to do, you know, like, especially if you're in prep and your partner's not, and he's 20 minutes late, that's unacceptable. Like I'm starting at 5 o'clock because meal Tuesday, you know, last meal is like 6:30 or whatever, you know, you're on a schedule.
Are you still like that you really want to eat on a schedule, or are you like more relaxed now and would be like it, like, or later on when you were competing, you were like, well, if I get it in 1 hour late, then I have a little more anabolism there and a little less here, and the muscle's not gonna fall off.
Well, yeah, you learn very quickly with the experience that the small details that you paid attention to really don't equate to anything. Yeah. It's like, and that's where like the big disconnect I think is with a lot of competitors and even coaching sometimes, where coaches will drive concepts that don't matter, you know? And it's just like, dude, there's so many things in detail oriented that in theory, it sounds like it makes sense, but it's not going to equate to anything that you can see or feel. It's just not.
What are things that you see in that regard?
Oh, meal timing specifically, or like they have to eat this pre-workout or they have to train after meal 3. It's like, dude, I have some people who are pretty big bodybuilders, super heavyweights that train fasted. They have 5 children. They work 50 hours a week. They train fasted and they make ground. Or somebody like, oh, I gotta have 3 meals in me, man. I just don't feel right in the gym. It's like, it's psychological. Your body will get used to it. You will adapt.
I just had the same conversation yesterday. I'm like, I can't get anyone to train with me like 9 a.m. I'm like, everyone's like, I need 3 meals in me. I'm like,
no, you don't,
dude. And if you think so, then just shift your meals backwards and eat a bigger meal at night, and you'll have your power in the morning. Like,
100%. Right? And the other misconception is like people like, I got to do a cheat meal on leg day. Well, you know that like extra calories the day of doesn't really help you in that particular activity. It's like kind of what you ate today in the off season will help you tomorrow. In contest prep, it's a different story. Food, because food's so low, glycogen stores are low, food that day actually might help you that day. But in the off season, people are like, I got to do burger and fries on a leg day. It's going to help me grow. That's not.
Yeah, you could argue maybe a little with the more insulin post workout or so, but
Burger and fries.
yeah, I wouldn't do burger and fries, but
Yeah.
you could eat more. You could
Right.
eat more.
Yeah. But it's like when people are looking for a boost during the training, it's like once you went a little higher calorie day the day before.
It's
So you're
also
loaded.
a funny concept that the shittiest food should give you the most strength.
Yeah. The saturated fat and salt. Yeah. And some of it's psychological. You think about it, you eat a meal that's very calorically dense, something your body's not used to, and your body retains the water, and you feel all the blood in your blood, all the water in your blood, and you get that increasing voluminizing effect. It's kind of like a hose, right? A hose turns on, you kink it, it's a lot more pressure. You can feel it, and that psychologically makes you feel like you're stronger, right?
Yeah.
Because how many people like post-show were like, bro, I'm fucking so strong, but they're really not strong. It's just water retention, post-show, where they feel so big, where psychologically, if you feel tight and big, you always feel safe, when you're lifting weights,
What's your post-show approach for people? Like, are you the guy who's like, get off everything, or circumstantial, or let's boost with like Joe Palacios big yesterday? I had him on the podcast. He swears on like going directly into D-ball deca and test to get a boost for the first few weeks.
I don't see the merit because it's short-lived. So like, it's hard to. I don't like to paint black and white concepts, right? Because there's obviously individualization. In one sense, of say you went through a prep and you're genetically a lean person, and your prep was 12 weeks, and you never hit heavy drugs, you didn't accumulate a lot of fatigue, and you get out of that show and you're like, you know what? I was going to do 3 more shows, but I'm not now. Could that person take advantage of a post-show rebound and maybe run a cycle for 8 weeks? Yeah, sure, right? But if somebody's doing like 2 or 3 shows, they're kind of hitting it hard, accumulate a lot of fatigue. Post-show is not the time to grow muscle at all. I don't care what anybody says. It's like, prove it to me. Because there's so much anecdotal response. But then again, you look at them 15 weeks post-show, and now they're flat fat and watery. And then you look at their next year's stage weight, and it's only a marginal difference, if none. So like the clients that I've had this past year and last 2 years, my methodology has changed where post-show generally, not with everybody, is 6 weeks back down to real TRT. You're weaning off the drugs, 6 weeks. So you're trying to get your body back to baseline with normal testosterone levels, normal hormone levels. You're trying to rinse off the fatigue and stress that your body accumulated through prep. You're trying to maintain as lean as physique as possible in that 6 weeks, provided training performance is not suffering, meaning week 1, probably a little tired post-show, but training performance should gradually improve. Fatigue should improve. Sleep should be improving. Then you get to the end of the 6 weeks, and the overall goal would be maybe to be up no more than 15 pounds from stage weight. On TRT, blood levels are back to normal, serum health markers are back to normal, sleep is normal, digestion's normal, appetite is still insanely high. And then now you can have an 18-week rebound. You're just extending the rebound versus people being like, well, I'm going to push it post-show for 6 weeks. Great. Now you push it for show 6 weeks when your body's not even fully rested and ready to put on tissue. And now you got to come off because now your labs are really fucked because now you went from taking a bunch of orals and toxic contest drugs to eating a bunch of food, putting on a bunch of weight, throwing more androgens to your body, now gaining 40 pounds in 6 weeks. That's horrible for you. And then now you got to come off.
Yeah.
And then at that point you come off, now your body just gradually gets a little softer because as you know, like lower androgens, the body gets a little softer, body composition changes. But I'd rather be the other way around. And like we're getting confused on years. So not this year. Last year, I had guys I've had for years, and we changed how we did our rebound and our training. And I had a 40-year-old guy put on 11 pounds of stage weight, only running 750 tests, 300 mgs of primo, and 4 hours of growth. And he's not a genetic phenom, but I've been with him for years, and we put on lean tissue every year. But he put on 11 pounds of solid fucking stage weight, crushed the show, turned pro. But like, I'm like, there's something to this. And a lot of the guys that did the same approach, and they had an unbelievable off season. Instead of it being 6 weeks, that's cool training, They get 18 weeks of cool training. You know what I mean? Because body fat's going to accumulate through an off season no matter what. So it's like, I'd rather just have them, hey man, bite the bullet, tough out the 6 weeks. So when you're ready, your body be fully ready and full strength to push a full off season cycle. That's how I handle the rebound.
Do you have a bunch of people that can't handle food afterwards and like go overboard?
Well, you know, typically back in the day, it's like back in the day, people used to always believe in the rebound. Oh, you got to push the cycle 6 weeks. Because I've done it myself many times. And I can't think of one time where it worked out really beneficial.
I meant like with food. They can't stop eating or so.
Oh, you get a lot of people who have trouble with that. Yeah. So like usually.
Is that a point where you put them also on GLP maybe?
Well, now the advent of that, I was a late bloomer with adding that to some of my clients' things. So it's like just this past year I really have. But prior to that, I didn't. And usually what I would do is the first week post show, it would be an aggressive feeding every day, aggressive, because I'm worried about them eating a jar of peanut butter. I'm worried about them eating like 12, 15 donuts. That gets you fat, fucks your digestion and your reflux and all that. But if I hit them right off the rip, say if they were dieting on 200 grams of carbs, that was their baseline fat burning day, and I go right to 800, and proteins maybe 45 grams, not too much protein. Because who wants to eat protein post-show, right? They don't eat carbs and fats. And their fats are 15 grams per meal. They're hungry, but at least they're not like, I'm going to raid the closet right now and eat a whole box of Triscuits. You know what I'm saying? If I can get them to avoid that binge out, by the time they get to the 7 days post-show, they're up like 6 pounds, but they're more able to fight the cravings.
Yeah, I think it's also very important that they have an exact plan.
Oh, yeah.
Because I also, it's funny, this morning, I'm subscribed to the Arnold newsletter, and usually they always put out information that they tie to a product they can sell.
Oh, yeah.
But there's a study that said when people eat the same foods, and I know you're big on exchange,
yeah.
But when people eat the same foods, they tend to lose 37% more body fat, and it's probably what they figured. It's due to the lack of options, because once you do, like, if it fits your macros, you get so many ideas and you buy stuff that you shouldn't buy or something.
Yeah.
And then you overeat. So it's not because it works better technically if you would follow both plans.
Yeah.
But practically for most people, psychologically.
Yeah.
So I think this is, if you tell someone, just go eat in that week.
No. That doesn't work out.
Exactly.
It spins out of control. I usually let them, hey man, like tonight, go out to eat, have what you want tonight. Usually my post-show protocol is the second they get off stage, 1.5 liters of water right away. Get the water in before you eat too much, and then you're going to eat too much and not be able to drink.
Yeah.
Then you're going to feel like a piece of shit, right? So I'm like 1.5 liters right when you get off the stage. Go have whatever you want Saturday night. Just no pizza, no alcohol, no sugar. Just eat, have fun with your family. And then Sunday, if you want to have something sweet or a little heavier, that's fine. Just not Saturday night. Because how many times do you get people be like, bro, I ate like a whole thing of jelly beans and like Hershey's Kiss, Reese's peanut butter cups, and like I was throwing up all night long, or I felt sick, and my head hurts the next day, their ankles are, I haven't had a client have that issue years.
Yeah.
And I try to prevent that. And
just be like, go to a restaurant, don't go grocery shopping.
Yeah.
Because the restaurant is also way more expensive.
Oh, for sure.
And you can't do like the full packages of anything.
Yeah. And I usually have their plan already ready to roll on Monday. And sometimes guys be like, I'm ready to start tomorrow. I'm like, no, it's kind of important that you just have a little deload. Because I think it's very important, like post-show, like as much as guys want to be serious, and they can if they want, but like, dude, your wife has been dealing with you competing for 20 weeks. Like, go to breakfast tomorrow with her. Like, go to dinner tomorrow night. Spend some time with family. Just be normal for 24 hours. It's okay. It's not going to throw everything back. Just don't eat like a complete asshole. You know what I mean? Like, You don't need to eat 85 pieces of sushi,
So you also, you study becoming a dietitian, and you are one, right?
Yeah.
So was that actually the plan, doing like bodybuilding coaching with that? Or did that just come about because your bodybuilding plans got extended and then you got more into it, and then you're like, wait, I can, do those together?
It's a real quick synopsis was, I was trying to figure out what I like to do. I've always liked exercise. I've always liked fitness since I was like 8. And I raced motocross professionally, but what got me initially interested in food and training was to be a better motocross rider. And my parents hired me at coach for motocross that made me eat a specific way when I was like 11, 12. And he taught me like macros, 4 meals a day, carbs, proteins, fats, clean foods.
When you were 14?
No, 11.
So that was like 32 years ago. That was pretty early on.
Yeah.
Because back then, like even bodybuilders, they didn't know that much.
Yeah. He was strict, and I love the guy, and he was super hardcore, just like right at my type of person.
Yeah.
He'd come in, look at me, look at the things. He's like, "You want to be a good racer, or do you want to be a shit racer? It's up to you. If you want to eat this bullshit, you can eat this fucking bullshit." He goes, "But Ricky Carmichael's not doing that, And like, I'm like, all right, what are we gonna do? And he's like, oatmeal, this, that.
Who's Ricky Carmichael? A racer?
Probably the best racer of all time.
Okay.
Yeah. And at the time, he was still young, so he was coming up, but he was the best like super mini in the world. Like
I know, like Lance Armstrong's first coach was Chris Carmichael.
Yeah. Well, Lance Armstrong's second coach, Baker, right?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, Lance Armstrong's coach later was Aaron Baker. And Aaron Baker, Carmichael hired.
Aaron Baker, that's funny, like the bodybuilder?
Yeah, is it Aaron Baker? Maybe I'm butchering that.
Maybe you're wrong.
Maybe the last name's Baker, I believe. But anyway, he hired Lance Armstrong's coach to get him in better shape for motocross. And then he ended up just destroying everybody because he got so much better shape. But anyway, so I was going to school to be exercise science. And then I was working as a personal trainer, and there's a dietitian that worked at my personal training facility. And he had all of us go through like a nutrition program to promote his product, his stuff. And I took it, did it, and I got ripped. And I was like, wow, nutrition is really fucking cool. Like, I knew it was cool, but I didn't know, like, you could change your body a hell of a lot faster with nutrition than you can training alone. So I was like, I like this. And then I started looking at, like, options of, like, where I could work being a strength coach versus a dietitian. I'm like, there's a lot more jobs as a dietitian, and then probably more job security overall than a strength coach, unless you're a really good strength coach, right? So I changed my major to nutrition, and it was totally for job. I never planned to be a coach, dude. It was never a plan, and it was never even a plan ever once. It just happened where I hired my sister's ex-boyfriend, who was a bodybuilder, Christian Julie, to help me my first show, and he helped me my first show. And then I picked up Chris Aceto's books the following year, and I'm like, I'm going to do my own prep and learn. And then I did it, and I stepped on stage like 11 pounds heavier and ended up winning. And then a guy in my local gym is like, hey man, what did you do last year? And it's like, I read these books, and do you want them? He's like, no, I want to hire you to help me. And I was like, bro, I don't know what I'm doing. Like, he's like, yeah, but you know more than me. And I'm like,
that might be true.
Oh yeah. I was like, okay, but I really don't know what I'm doing. I had no confidence. Just like I did one, And he's like, dude, I'm gonna pay you. You help me. What do you charge? I'm like, I don't know. Just give me $50. And I helped him with his prep, and he did better. And then his friend goes, hey, what did you do last year? You look so much different this year. He's like, this guy in my gym helped me. And then that's how it started. And then it was word of mouth starting in 2007. That's how it started. And then it just snowballed. And then I helped a bunch of natural competitors. Because at the time, natural bodybuilders weren't getting in shape. And I was like, you guys just need to push harder. Like, this is just simple as pushing harder. And then in one show, I had like everybody in the overall was like my clients. And then I helped natural guys for a long time, and then helped their parents get in shape for summer. And then they realized I was going to school of nutrition. I was helping people with diabetes. And then it just started to keep going and keep going and keep going. And then eventually it was like, I worked as a dietitian. I was like making more money as a coach working 12 hours than I was 40 hours a week at the hospital. And then eventually I was like, well, fuck, maybe I should just do this instead. My mom's like, don't do it. You need health insurance. You need benefits. And I'm like, I think I could make enough to cover that. And that's how it started. And then I worked full time for myself in 2015, and then met my current wife, who's the best ever. And she ended up quitting her job 6 months after that to help me in the back end work of like billing, because I'm terrible at that. I was terrible at that.
That's chill to have someone do that. That sucks.
Oh, dude, billing and all that. She's like, do you realize that people owe you about $13,000? I'm like, what? She's like, yeah, you haven't billed this guy in like 4 months. This guy you've been helping for free since last year. He goes, I look at your email chain, and you're just like, hey, pay me next week. And you're just helping all these people for free. So she developed a system for like automatic billing.
It's a little shitty, man. They know that they didn't pay you.
Yeah.
They're like, I didn't pay you.
I mean, you know how it is, dude. Like, you're people who are genuine tend to get taken advantage of. But Lexia straightened that out real quick.
That's good. So
Obviously, there's more to it than just diet. So, and I guess you're a reader and a self-teacher, learner. But like when you go into hypertrophy and training, what's your overall philosophy there in terms of like frequency, volume, intensity, techniques?
Well, it's changed so much over the years. I mean, I'll be honest. I trained a bro split for the 95% of my entire bodybuilding career. And obviously I went from a stage weight of 174 to all the way to 222. Bro splits work. They worked for years.
And then very high volume, I guess.
I never did high volume.
Oh, okay.
I did a lot of intensity, probably more intense than I should have, because my body broke down pretty rapidly. So like we did a lot of failure sets, drop sets. I trained with Evan for a lot, and Evan volume and intensity. But I was staying with same 12 working sets for chest for almost 15 years. But like obviously the loads lifted were significantly higher, so there's your volume, right? But I would never like train chest twice per week, or I would never be like, oh, now I'm at 18 working sets of chest. I think the intensity kind of negated the fact of needing to increase frequency for me. But I've always been genetically a slow recoverer. I remember being in high school training with my buddies, and he was so fucking strong. High school was benching 4 or 5 natural. Wow. And and I remember like he would do all this volume and my chest would be sore for like 9 days. And he would message me on Wednesday after training chest on Monday, and he's like, bro, I'm like ready to hit chest again. What the hell's wrong with you? Like, how's that possible?
Those days, man, with 18, and we were like always chest and always bench pressing and shit.
Yeah.
But dude, I'm the same with my chest. I could do 3 sets, I'd be sore. And everyone's like, let's do chest. I'm like, I'm freaking sore.
Yeah. And I'll get weaker. I'm like, I'm getting weaker, and this dude's getting stronger. I'm like, this isn't working, But obviously, you fast forward all the way till now, my philosophy on hypertrophy is it's much more gray. Like I have some people that train push-pull legs. I have some people that train bro split. I have some people that train a modified hybrid in between, where obviously their best body parts are training once per week. Their weaker body parts are training twice per week. And some guys are training 36 sets of working sets of back per week. Some are training 16. But it's all in the individual's response and what has gotten them to that point. I think where people become a big mistake with training is they flip the script 180 degrees on their training because what they're doing is not working. They're like, well, my bro split's not working and I'm doing, say, 10 working sets per body part per week. I'm going to try to double it. And I'm going to do push-pull legs and see. And well, obviously, as you know, nutrition, like you don't take somebody's nutrition and then they're using low fat, high carb, and all of a sudden go high fat, zero carb. That's dumb, right? It's a progression. So like with training, I'm like, let's just see what you're doing, what's not working, and let's make micro changes to what you're doing to get a better outcome, and then change that training along the way. So when a client comes to me, they show me what they're doing, and I'll start asking questions, looking at their weak body parts. And okay, let's keep the split the same. Let's maybe change this volume over here to here. Your legs are already huge. Let's take away some volume off your legs. Maybe we can allocate more of that recovery for your back. And that's kind of how my philosophy is with training. I will say that I think the biggest deficit with weak body parts is people's inability to connect with that muscle. Their execution is poor. They're still mechanically trying to position themselves to be to have the best mechanical advantage to lift the load. They're not positioning themselves.
Like powerlifting.
Right. They're not positioning themselves to be like, how do I get more tension up here? They're like, I have to go harder, so I'm going to go heavier. And therefore, they're contorting their body. I see that all the time, especially with back. They're like, I'm doing pull downs, and you see their pull down there, and like they yank the weight, and their body goes to the bar. Like no.
The rear delt pull down.
This is my very own clothing line. Faith isn't meant to stay hidden. These shirts put your inside on the outside. One bold Bible verse, epic aligning images for street or gym. Every shirt sold sends $5 directly to Christian charities, building wells, feeding families, and sharing the gospel. This isn't just clothing. It's a walking testimony. Wear the word, show the world what you believe. Order now.
Major announcement, guys. The Peptide Encyclopedia is now to download. Check out the link in the description or the pinned comment, or go on my link tree. And the Anabolic Handbook is also available. all the compounds from A to Z broken down into benefits, downsides, administration, and so on. One favor I got to ask you though, if you could subscribe to this channel to help it grow, to get the highest caliber people on this podcast, that would be amazing. Thank you so much. Now on with the episode.
Go ahead, also check out my third book, Science of Aging. It is about understanding and really implying what you can do in order to age better and improve your health span. Check it in the link tree now.
Yeah. So like execution, I feel like is the biggest missing link with people, because they're always focused on the split rep range or these intensifying techniques when they're doing these intensified techniques with faulty execution. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Rep range, I still think that rep range should be 8 to 15 on average. Obviously, there's some outliers, but I don't want anybody going below 8. And the reason? Injury. I can't even tell you how many clients that I've had over the last 5-6 years who do dumb shit and tear muscles. And it's always doing something stupid.
When I train low, when I train and I train very like focused, concentrated, and I do back 8 reps, they take pretty long.
Yeah.
And for some people, 8 reps are 8 seconds. And for me, it might be 32 seconds. So
it's a very good point. Yeah. And like, I was going to mention that too. It's like, at what tempo are you going? Because moving heavy ass weight quickly is not super fatiguing. You slow it down, use a full range of motion, and you not necessarily pause at the bottom, but you stop the momentum.
Yeah. And
then you push, your muscle is going to work harder. That set's way longer. I mean, I'm sure you've done it before with your clients. It's like you train a client and they're like, hey, this program you gave me is not very challenging. Oh, really? Maybe at the gym. And then they puke after the second exercise. They're like, I didn't know you had to do it like this. I'm like, bro, your objective is to move the weight in a way to make it as humanly hard as possible on the muscle you're targeting. That's what you're doing. It's not just to position yourself, take these 55-minute rest between sets to lift the heaviest load and swing your whole body. And I know a lot of listeners might listen to that and be like, well, so-and-so does that. Listen, they're outliers to everything. And there's dudes who are just fucking jacked that can do everything wrong and take cycles that don't even make sense, and it still works. But that ain't 90% of people. It's just not.
Yeah, and also like when people say, I mean, if something works, then at least it works. But that is not necessarily that's the best way it works. It's like if you make progress and you're actually capping out at 50% of what you could do, like you could make way better progress too.
Yeah.
And people are like, no, it works, so it's great. It's like, I mean, it's great if it works, but you know, maybe you could be Ronnie Coleman, and in the meantime, you're, I don't know, 50th in classic physique. So
yeah, and then the other thing too is
you can still question your ways even though you make progress.
100%. And it's hard to get people to break something that's, you have ego, you have influence of other people, because, when we're younger, like our guys are like, bro, put a fucking plate on, let's go. And you're like, yeah, put a fucking plate on, and like, we're not paying attention to what it feels like my knees are burning. Fuck it, just go through it, And then you get a little older and you're like, this is not working.
Yeah.
Then you change a few things or you get injured, and the injury makes you realize that you should probably be training a different way. But it's always the school of hard knocks, right? It's like, Evan and I always have this conversation, bro, if we transported back in time to our 21-year-old selves, would we listen to our own advice? And Evan's like, probably not. Probably like, who in the fuck is this old guy? Yeah. Get this fucking guy out of here. But injury is one thing that like, it's just like people dismiss it usually because they've never been injured before. And unfortunately, like I said, the school of hard knocks, but everybody's one injury away from being done completely. So it's like, I think it's dumb when you're doing something completely risky for just a lift that you're not even judged on. It's not in competition. We don't have to do it. It's the biggest guy, best guy on stage. And just by facts, the best bodybuilders in the world ever are not the strongest. They never have been. Ronnie Coleman was strong, but there's still bodybuilders doing heavier poundage than he was. So it's kind of like, are we going to follow suit with just lifting the heaviest weight possible? No.
Yeah.
It's like, look at the bodybuilders who've been around and won the most shows.
Look at Samson.
They're not the strongest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Samson's training, people are like, what?
Yeah.
And you're like, yeah, man. Might work in another way too.
Yeah. Yeah. But like, Samson on our podcast, he said that he trains everything high reps.
Yeah.
Because if he goes 6 reps, 8 reps, he's going to get hurt. you know? And there's always context to that, right? When you're just starting out in bodybuilding and your 6 reps is 225, it might not be that risky, right? But when your 6 reps is like 485, it's a different story. Same soft connective tissue, you know?
Yeah, I hate that when people confuse that training heavy with heavy loads.
Yeah.
And not the individual heaviness of a weight.
Right.
Because if you can do 20 reps with 400 pounds, you're not training heavy.
Right. Yeah.
And people are like, no, look, he's using up 400 pounds. Like, yeah, you can do 20 reps. It's not heavy.
Yeah. It's like, bro, what can you do for 20 reps?
Yeah.
185? You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's like,
Yeah.
This training heavy thing is like, it's according to what your 100% max is.
Yeah.
And not what like the number of the weight is.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think people just.
And then like, you ever think about like too, like what's the biggest obstacle for people preventing them from growing, right? Obviously their environment, right? They got kids, they work night shift, stressful jobs, appetite, digestion problems, obviously genetics, but not counting genetics. Then you have injury, right? So I look at a lot of my clients currently now, all of them, even the best guys. And what are the limiting factors of at least half of them? It's injuries, pre-existing injuries, knee injury, left leg's a little small than the right leg. It's going to hurt you on stage. Oh, when I train, I got to make sure I'm a certain way. Well, how'd you hurt that knee? It's being dumb in the gym. It's kind of squatting too heavy. Okay. Oh, I got a shoulder problem. Having a shoulder problem. Oh, dude, I was doing dumbbell rows and I was yanking heavy weight, and it's been a problem ever since 4 years ago. And now that right side of their body is not firing right because there's an injury, and now you see a discrepancy between two sides. That's a big fucking problem. But I feel like it's an easy problem to, there's easy steps you can take to mitigate some of those risks. You can't mitigate all of them. You're going to get injured. It's part of the game, but you can mitigate that without doing something that's silly. And I remember telling Jordan that along the way, because his trajectory was insane. And I'm like, bro, your trajectory of body weight gain and strength gain is so significant. I go, you got to be careful, because think about it. If you get stronger 4 or 5 weeks in a row, every single week you go, something's going to happen eventually. You might need to deload, settle into that weight for a little while before you keep getting heavier and heavier and heavier. Powerlifters know this. Yeah. Powerlifters aren't going to go heavier 6 weeks in a row above their previous 1 rep max. They know to back off, you know? And then he messaged you one day and he's like, bro, I fucked up. I go, what? He's like, I never really deadlift heavy, and all the guys are deadlifting, and I deadlifted and I hurt my QL. And he goes, my back's fucked up. And it was fucked up for almost a year, like a legit year. And he made his whole spine crooked, and now it's fine, but it took almost a year and a half to go away completely. Whoa. That one time deadlifting. So it's like, dude, if you don't deadlift heavy and that's not your normal routine and you're training with your guys, don't be dumb. Don't do that. And now he's just like, now I'm staying in my own lane. I'm like, you have to, you know?
Yeah. What do you think about deadlifts?
I used to think that they were an important part of the game. I no longer believe that at all. And to one anecdotal study myself, I had a very good deadlift. I would always deadlift high reps just because low reps didn't really work for me. So I would deadlift 405 for 20 reps. My best ever was 475 for 18. And I would put it down, pick it up, put it down, pick it up, pulling with my back. And then Judge one day in my 4th show goes, Chris, doesn't look like you train back. And I'm like, excuse me? I go, I can dumbbell row 150s. I can barbell row 315, 365. I can do this. And he's like, well, it doesn't look like it. And I went back and I'm like, I had to think to myself, I was kind of upset. And I'm like, I'm not doing any of these movements anymore. I'm going to do all Nautilus machines and all these different machines and do something different. And then the following year, my back made significant ground, because the name of the game, if you're not connecting with your back, you're not growing it. And my back was never sore.
I always say muscle you don't feel is a muscle you won't grow.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. So I changed my methodology in that. And like, if you look at like how much central nervous system tax you get from heavy deadlifts and then the risk to reward benefit, I don't see that it's there, especially with the advent of all these movements that are out now. Yeah. All these machines are insane.
You know, I start implementing a little bit of almost stiff leg deadlifts. I'm not totally stiff.
Like RDL, kind of modified like RDL?
So I have the bar a little in front of me to have a different lever to pull a little more from the hamstring. Yeah. So it's just for the hamstrings. Yeah. I mean, you can't just isolate them, but that's the reason I do it. And so I do like 275 or something for reps. But because, and this is a weird thing, because I have my muscle connection with my hamstrings that I feel they're going to tear, but they're still behind. But this year was the first year I really figured out how to show them, like how to flex them right on stage. Because everyone was always like, you got to turn out your knees.
Yeah.
For me, it's the opposite.
Yeah, put your knees neutral.
I have to turn them out, then turn them in. So I turn them out a little more, and then when I turn them in,
You pop the hamstring.
I pop them. So it's kind of interesting. So it appears then that I make good gains, but I don't know if it's that or if it's more like now I show them. But for that reason, I put them in. For hamstrings, do you think that's, if someone's behind there, that's something they should implement?
Well, let me clarify everything I comment deadlifts. I'm commenting on traditional deadlifts.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, not RDLs.
Yeah.
RDLs I think are wonderful. I do think people use too heavyweight for RDLs though, and their glutes just take over.
Yeah.
Because you know what it is, if you go 8 reps heavy as you can.
I don't even
RDLs,
go all the way up.
Right, yeah.
But if you go like.
But think about it, bro.
What's that,
How do you
80?
feel if you go 8 rep max on an RDL? I feel it in my glutes. And most people like shift because they hip hinge harder to brace themselves. It's like, yeah, my hamstrings are involved. I can't connect with my hamstrings as much.
I do very
reps.
slow. 8 reps is pretty long for me.
Yeah. But but 8 reps to complete failure, probably not.
I'm also so conscious about my midsection when I do that.
Bracing
a lot
hard.
of people like blow their bellies out, especially when they use. I'm a belt opponent because I see so many guys using the belt and breathing wrong and like kind of like
They push
pushing
out
the
against
hernia in it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm like, this is a hernia belt, bro. Like you're getting like, don't use the belt and then you might tuck it in.
Yeah.
So-
Because you have to.
Yeah, so and I'm like very conscious. I don't want anything. So I'm always like, this has to be tight as hell. So that's why I'm gonna go super slow.
I totally agree with you on that aspect. I think a lot of guys' guts who grow very thick midsection, people go, it's growth hormone, it's insulin. Dude, some of these men's physique guys are using absurd amount of growth hormone. So is classic physique guys. And their guts aren't growing. And I think it's a lot to do with bracing. And because some of these bigger guys eat a lot of food, which is harder to control your midsection, your stomach's so full, but they're not paying attention to bracing at all. And they're, as you said, they're pushing against the belt and their stomach's coming over.
Yeah.
So now when you ask them, bro, hit your stomach. And they're like, they can't.
Or when you see them leg pressing.
Yeah. And I also think sometimes like they probably don't need to be that heavy. If they went a little bit lighter, put their feet a little lower, went a little slower, more control, that you could move the weight to make it more challenging on the quad. You know what I mean?
What do you think is ruining physiques nowadays? Like in terms of you see less of this quality separation, grainy muscle.
Theories. I had this conversation exactly with Milos about this. I go, why is it that you guys had all this crazy detail? And you guys use growth hormone? And you guys use a ton of insulin? So what is it? And he goes, I don't know. He goes, if I had to guess, I would think that because he's like, I believe Milos, I do. And he's like, you guys are using a shit more ton drugs overall than we were. Like, it's constant. And it's like mega doses of things that just doesn't make sense, you know? He goes, we would use a good amount of gear and many of us would experiment with high stuff and realize it didn't work. So we just stayed around what we thought we stayed around with. And the other thing is because steroids were kind of like still not new, but like sharing information was not as common as today. So like now everybody broadcasts their cycle. So then they go, oh, that guy's broadcasting the cycle and it's this much, but he's so much bigger, it must be this much. And he goes, well, back in the day when we would say that to each other, some of us think we're lying to each other. So we would take less because we're nervous. We didn't know. And I believe him because like, look at the physiques. But another one of my coach friends thinks it's the absurdity of like 15, 20 years of growth. It's like the growth is changing the way the muscle looks or the amount of like fluid balance changes. Because you see some guys are like, they're lean on stage and their skin's super tight and there's no lines.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's so weird.
Do you think like some insulin insensitivity or overuse could maybe make the skin thicker?
I think it's multifaceted. I think there's multiple things. But you know what's funny is like
Maybe sight enhancement too.
Sergey. I saw him in person in France. And like
I'm always like, Fuad, why do you say Sir Guy?
yeah,
Who told you to guy?
Sergey.
They always like Sir Guy. I'm like, gay.
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe he doesn't want to say gay. I don't know.
Dude, he was massive. But I was looking at him like, I don't see any detail in his legs. And there's no body fat anywhere. And it looked like the skin was so stretched tight and the muscles were so pushed out. And it just looked like, arguably, there's no skin to pinch, no fat to pinch.
Did he had a big pump, or was he like?
But no, he's just standing there. And like when he was flexing on stage, I'm like, I just don't see the incredible detail, which I thought was interesting. It's the first time I've ever seen it in person. I'm looking at somebody.
Didn't you see Ashkenani before?
Not in person.
Oh, okay.
Not in person.
Because he had that too.
Yeah. I remember that too. But I thought that was just interesting, And then you look back at the '90s guys.
You
and
don't
like,
see that. Even though
detail
some
was
of them
insane.
were technically less conditioned, but they appear more conditioned.
Muscle separation.
A lot of times these days they're like, oh, they're not as conditioned as back then. And then you look at some other body parts of them back then. And
It's like the glutes are fat, but like the rest of it.
or like Nasser's back or something. Like,
dude, I think if I was gonna say my educated guess, I think it's got to do with one size. Because when guys get too big, like Ronnie Coleman, you look at it from like 2000, 99, 2000, and you keep going, the muscle separation changes. Phil Heath's did too. Phil Heath in his pro debut, you could see every striation everywhere all over his body, right? And then the bigger he got, that is. And you look at the overall stage weight of the 90s and overall stage weight now it's heavier. So you have that aspect. But I think people running 15, 20 IUs of growth, I think that has something to do with it. I really do.
What do you think the importance of growth hormone and where's a good threshold that's actually working?
I don't have anybody above 8 IUs, 9 IUs. I had one individual who's just insistent on using 10, 12 IUs because he thinks his generics are weak. And I'm like, okay, man, if that's what makes you feel better, well, just tell me what you're doing. Because, you get clients sometimes who are like, they're so sure that test probe's better. Like, okay, use test probe, that's fine. And
if you want to spend that money,
if you want to spend the money, he's like, bro, I'm generic, it's weaker. I'm like, okay, whatever. But most of the time, like farm grade guys, like no more than 8, 9 IUs, but I just don't see it. And honestly, dude, if I see 6 IUs to 9, like it's not like I'm sitting there being like, holy shit, that was a game changer. Like I just don't know. I mean, I look at the trajectory of Jordan, and Jordan was just abnormally conservative for years. We're running 4 IUs for years. And then we went to 6, then we went to 7. And it's just like, trajectory didn't change. Nothing changed. And then eventually went back down a little bit.
Oh, okay. Because you could have maybe think like that's why the trajectory didn't change because you upped it.
Right. But you
could also think that.
But it's kind of like this, right? It's like, so we had, so if you look at his trajectory from USA's, he was on stage about 225, 224, right? And then his first pro debut.
When he won the pro card?
Yeah, his pro card, yeah.
Wow, that's pretty light because he's like 5'10".
Yeah, he's 5'10". Yeah, 5'10".
That's almost classic.
Yeah. Well,
he goes piss.
Yeah, it is now.
Classic, yeah.
But he won the overall at USA's, and then his first pro show, we were on stage about 18 pounds heavier. We ran the same fucking cycle the year before. It was like 1,000 mgs a test, 400 EQ, and 4 days of growth.
Yeah.
And then we do the pro show.
I mean, the natural's always on the same cycle. They can also make gains.
Right, yeah. Right. And then, so he made gains, and then I remember him coming off stage at the first pro show, and he's like, bro, do you think we're shortchanging ourselves? And I go, what do you mean? He's like, everybody backstage is running like legitimately 4 times what we're running. I'm like, well, look how much heavier we are on stage already. He's like, it's a good point. I'm like, it's a solid point. I go, bro, if we don't feel like we're making gain, then we'll up a little bit. And the following year again, we really didn't change it. We went to 1250 test, kept the EQ the same, and then growth was the same, 4 or 5 IUs, and he jumped another 10 pounds. So I'm like, let's just leave it alone. And then the following year, we decided like, okay, let's try to do a little more growth. But sometimes you get clients who are just like, listen, this is what everybody's doing. I think we should be doing it. And I'm like, we can experiment with it. That's fine. Like, I don't see any harm. But if there's any harm with it, and you can't sleep at night, your hands get numb, you start to see negative effects in your blood, insulin resistance, then we're gonna have to make an adjustment. But like, you know how it is, man. There's a lot of anecdotal stuff, and we judge what we know and what we see. It's just like at the end of the day, is any of us 100% right? Probably not, because there's too many variables.
Yeah.
Genetics reign supreme, right? How many guys, have you coached where like they look like they're on a ton of gear and they're on like 50 mgs of Winstrol only, right? Like one of my clients, when he He's pro now, but when he first started,
I mean, the most gifted guy I coached was Urs.
yeah. But it's like you look at them like, and other guys look at them like, well, this guy's been juicing forever at high gear. I'm like, no, he hasn't. And they're like, bullshit, bro. Some people are just born just better.
Yeah.
And then they just take a little bit and they have an absurd response. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and also I saw that on myself. For example, last prep I was on 350 test, and it's a very, like, the test I run is very specific. So my test was under 1500 on 350. So not everyone like absorbs it and translate the same way. Yeah. Like some people are on 350 and their test total would be at 2500.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And not 1300.
Yep.
So it's also a little bit, what arrives.
Yeah.
And where does it arrive?
Yeah.
So,
and how your body responds to that.
Yeah.
Because you have those genes that turn on under androgen exposure. And then do you have those genes that just tend to take
but
off?
I'm also someone who never has any superficial side effects at all. So it might be because of that.
Right.
Because if I run, and I don't run high cycles, but if I run as much as someone who's having crazy side effects, I might not have any.
Yeah.
Like not like superficial ones, I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah,
don't quote me like, oh, he has no side effects. I'm saying superficial side effects, like something that you feel in life.
Yeah. DHT side effects, your hair loss, acne, oily skin, prostate problems.
Acne is the only thing I get.
Yeah.
I got acne right away, like 350 test, boom. And then I took Accutane. It went away forever, not forever. Because when I came off for one whole year, when I started bike riding again, I got back on, but I wanted my fertility back to when I was on.
Yeah.
I gotta keep it. And then I couldn't run Accutane. And I broke out again. So now it's like slowly getting better.
Yeah.
And then oftentimes it's like, so if I would go on nothing now, it would probably get worse.
It's funny how side effects change up and down, because if you look at our past history of our own gear use I love when people say, well, I've ran this cycle before. This is a new side effect. Maybe what I'm using is not real. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
Because each time you try something, your body does respond differently.
100%.
The only time I ever got acne was coming off a gear. Yeah. And then eventually one year, it just never happened ever again. And I would only get acne in my arms. Nowhere else.
The arms, it's interesting.
Only my arms. And I was a kid, teenager, I got acne in my face. Yeah. So I figured genetically, it would go right to where it used to be. It was completely unrelated. And then eventually, like I said, after 2 or 3 years, it never happened again, coming on and off, on and off, on and off, ever.
Also, like estrogen sensitivity and reactions changed so much. Like I used to be so sensitive, and then last year I got so much less sensitive, and then now I'm like a little more again. It's like it's so
your body
interesting.
adapts.
Man.
It does.
So interesting.
It does. It's funny you say the estrogen thing too, because I've been on TRT before in a little off season. Obviously, body fat's a little higher, and look at my estrogen. It's like 65. I'm like, wow, it's weird, And then
if you don't get gyno, it's a great place to be. And if you don't have high blood pressure.
Yeah. Oh, genetically, I have very low blood pressure. And then another contrary, like a year later, I was on 750 test, 300 MPP, and I was pretty lean, and my estrogen was like 35.
Wow.
It's like obviously probably related to body fat. Like body fat was so low, there was less conversion. But still, you know what I mean? It doesn't make any sense at all.
It doesn't.
And most of the time you're like, oh, it's probably because your gear was fake. And look at my serum lab is 5,200. Probably not.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's weird how the body just changes. And I try to get people to understand that. Just like, it is in prep. People are like, I'm having digestive issues. Oh, has anything changed? No, I'm eating the same foods, Chris. I'm eating the same foods I have been.
That might be the reason.
Right. But it doesn't mean all of a sudden your body starts to develop an intolerance, or in preparation when you're under stress, your gut microbiome changes, then your reaction to foods change. Doesn't mean just because you've been having this damn sauce the entire time, doesn't mean now it becomes a problem. Then you remove for 72 hours and you're like, oh, my stomach does feel better. It's weird, Yeah.
Yeah. Is there compounds that you try to stay away from, or compounds you use more for some reasons?
I tend to use norandulone's very low dose compared to most people these days. Like when I say low dose, I'm like no more ever than 400 milligrams. And most of the time with people 150 to 300. For one, my way of thinking is I don't want to have to use more drugs to counter prolactin. You know what I mean? And I think Nandrolones are awesome when they're used right in conjunction with other things. I mean, I think about how much weight I gained and strength I gained running the same cycle over and over again. Test deca D-ball back in the day. No AIs, no prolactin. And I just got strong as fuck and put on immense stage weight every year. And the other thing is going too high in Nandrolones, you get some people become very manic. You know, like they're up and they're down, they're up and they're down, and sex drives, they got noodle dick. You know what I mean? Like, you know, so it's noodle like, dick. Yeah. So that's one thing.
Cooked noodle dick.
Yeah. One thing I think, you know, because I know Jewett probably made Masteron and Primo so famous, is I don't use Primo like everybody else is using Primo.
I'm the opposite. I don't use Masteron at all, ever.
Really?
I think it's so useless, man. I think it's like Proviron injectable.
So well, this is my philosophy with that, right? Is like most people aren't getting real Primo. And the cost of Primo is a lot of money. And then I would say 50% of people that get real Primo had painful injection sites. And now if they want to run 60 mgs a week, they have painful shots all over their body. And I'm just finding it a little more difficult to recommend to people when they're under those obstacles. Cost, painful injection sites, frequency. Hey, you got real Primo? I'm going to use it.
Yeah.
And it's pain-free, I'm going to use it.
Yanoshik?
Oh, yeah.
I think, what does he want? $120, $115?
Dude, but you know, most people are going to.
It's one bottle worth. So
I know. But 24-year-old, 25-year-old, limited budget. You know what I mean? It's like, I understand what you're saying. There's a solution to almost any problem if you're willing to go that level. But I think I do use Masteron, but I like the basic stuff. I don't use D-ball really. I just don't think it's as far as like the benefit, water retention, high blood pressure, and lack of appetite.
I might have took like 4 tablets of D-ball my whole life.
Yeah. Anadrol I use sometimes, but usually 25 milligrams only. Just 25 milligrams, just very low dose.
At first I understood 1,200.
No.
Just 1,200.
No, 25. I think that can be useful. Doesn't really bomb the appetite too much, but it gives you something, you know?
Like pre-workout or what?
Yeah, pre-workout, or just because it's the half-life, I allow it to use for them.
The night before, maybe.
Yeah. However, and then some of them really benefit from it a lot. They're like, dude, my strength is great and my appetite's good and blood pressure is under control. I do manage blood pressure with my clients across the board 100% of the time. And they're checking blood pressure twice per week, every week. And if it's high, they're checking it every day just so we get a real idea of what the blood pressure really is doing versus it being a fluke. And then I'll have to change compounds or address it in other means to make sure the blood pressure is in check, because I'm not cooking anybody's kidneys just for a fucking plastic trophy.
Nah.
You know?
So you don't think that EQ is kidney toxic?
I don't know. You see the research on it. I see it, you know, it potentially is. I don't know. I don't know the answer to that.
That's why I just like, can I do it without it? I can.
Yeah.
I'm just going to not do it.
Same. Same. And if you think about already the danger of putting our body under, but I mean, EQ is...
Guys, I'd rather test my Primo. Come on, guys.
You
got it.
Yeah.
Go test it.
But I mean, I still use EQ sometimes, but probably not very high. But I mean, like, think about this, right? I look at how many guys in the 90s, and this is not always a good thing to do, is anecdotal stuff, but you look at the guys in the 90s, and how many of them have kidney failure, have used EQ over and 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 over again, right?
Yeah.
Not a whole lot, right? So it's this guy, that's kind of interesting. Like, why wouldn't it be exclusively like, oh, this guy was EQ heavy for years and his kidneys are cooked or not cooked? Like, we don't know. Like, you know, NSAIDs are
oftentimes people just cook the kidneys with like blood pressure and diuretics.
Blood pressure, diuretics, high blood glucose, or a combination of all three.
What's your approach to diuretics?
I like to use Diazide 3725 or 12.5, and I usually will probably never use more than a third.
Oh,
yeah, and usually just once.
What if it's a capsule? You like
cocaine line?
Yeah,
credit card line. Make individual 4 piles, sweep it into a spoon. In the spoon, drink it with water. That's how I usually do it. Yeah. I just the way I am with it is.
Because I have prescription and the capsules.
Yeah, they're a pain in the ass. I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. Because most of the time they're not prescribing the tablets anymore. Yeah.
I wish, yeah. But who knows if the tablets... Do you think if it's prescription tablets, they're equally divided throughout the tablet?
They should be. Okay, yeah. Especially if they're scored.
I mean, if they're already like They have this
Yeah.
Then of course they have to.
Yeah, correct. I believe they should be. Actually, my neighbor's a pharmacist. I should ask him.
Because you'd be like, I take a quarter, nothing happened.
I know. It's really
You
funny.
took the quarter where nothing was filler.
What is funny is like when I asked my father's a physician, and I'm like, Dad, if I said to you, I'm going to take 6.25 milligrams of hydrochlorothiazide, what would you say? He goes, that's going to do absolutely nothing. He goes, that's a therapeutic dose for nothing. He goes, usually start at 12.5, 25, and usually a patient comes to me and this is happening. They're starting already at 25 every day. I'm like, really? But like for us, we're just trying to take it off the top, a little bit off the top. But for peak for me, man, like my clients generally are ready 2 or 3 weeks out, 100%. And when they're 7 days out, like we already kind of 90% know what we have to do to kind of create that peak, because I've already kind of done a few trials of seeing what they look like, right? Where you do 2 aggressive high carbohydrate days that are very similar to say what a carb up would be, and water stays the same. I don't manipulate that in a mock carb up, and I just look at their pictures every day, and then 1 low day following the 2 high days again, just to see what they look like. And I'm like, shit, if they look still kind of dry after 2 full days of carbohydrates and 6 liters of water, okay, this is fine. We don't need a full diazide or anything.
I mean, if you're super shredded,
it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's hard to do something like that really would F it up. It's
right.
More, like the anxiety will do more to your physique than...
And that's the other thing too, right? And for listeners, like when you look at your normal body's response to fluid balance changes, if you think about like what you just said, anxiety. So they normally diurese 5 pounds overnight, every night. And all of a sudden you're counting on that for Thursday or Friday before the show. And they wake up Friday before the show and they lost 2 pounds, and you're like, that's not normal. Did you sleep last night? Anxious, man, I'm a coach, I'm pumped, I'm ready. I'm like, now we're not gonna have the same type of response because cortisol is getting higher. And then that's when sometimes a diuretic becomes extra useful, because it can pull that water out that person's retaining from anxiety. So like sometimes I don't want to use it, sometimes I do. I was surprised this year though. My client, Christian Palmer, who won North Americans, I see him off the plane. He has to weigh in. He's on stage on Thursday. He has to weigh in Wednesday at 2:00. I see him Tuesday afternoon. I'm looking at him, I'm like, ooh, lean, not a lot of detail. And he was 207. He has to be 198, obviously, make like a heavyweight. And I'm like, well, we have plenty of time, so let's just do a half of a diazide. And he cut water off and food off the Tuesday night at like 6 p.m., half diazide. He wakes up the next morning, he went all the way down to 198, like dumped all that water. And I'm like, when he texted me, he's downstairs. He texted me, he's like, bro, 198 on the dot. No shit. Because obviously he had some flying weight on the water, right? Flying weight. And I look at him expecting to see a flat physique. And I look at him, I'm like, ooh, that's interesting. He's like, what? You don't look flat at all. You just look completely detailed and shredded inside out. I go, huh. Well, anyway, you can't eat or drink anything to make weight, all right? But I go, if you drop down to like 197, I'll give you a little bit of water. He immediately shits, drops weight to like 196.5. So I give him enough water to bring his weight back to 197.5. Then he keeps peeing. No food. Then he keeps peeing. And then I give him more water to make him his weight stay at 197.5. Once we're 2 hours out from weigh-in, I just cut it off. That way there's a little more of a cushion to make it weight. He makes weight. I haven't seen him now in like 5 hours in person, posing. We get back. I look at him again, and I go, let me look at you real quick before I feed you. And then I decide, I look at him again. I'm like, bro, you look even better. I'm weirded out now. You haven't eaten in a long time. You haven't drinking any water.
We're doing the water fast in the show.
Yeah. And I go,
you got to keep water fasting until you look worse.
I go, you look insane. I go, so this is what we're going to do. This is going to be very weird. I'm only going to give you 45 grams of carbs, 10 grams of fat, 500 milligrams of sodium, 30 grams of protein, and 250 mLs of coffee. And then I'm just going to look at you in 90 minutes, and then we'll make a decision from there. I look at him again, and I'm like, holy shit. And my buddy who's staying with me, who's doing men's physique, looks at him and he goes, bro, what did you do? I'm like, I don't know, but whatever's happening, I'm just going to run with this.
Yeah.
I go, let's do that again. We're only going to do 250 mLs of water again, the same meal, same sodium, same fat, same protein. Do it again. Look at him 90 minutes later. Bro, you're getting even better. I'm like, this is going to be the weakest carb up ever, but I'm just going to let it run. And I let it run. And he only had 6 of those meals by the time he hit the stage. And he crushed the fucking light heavyweight class.
So 6 times 3, 270 carbs.
Yeah, yeah. And only like 250 times 6 water. And I gave him a little salt water before pump up backstage. And he stepped on stage and I talked to Bill after and I was like, Bill's like, dude, this dude's nuts. Like I almost thought he was going to win the overall before we were comparing. And I'm like, bro, I thought you had him. I thought it was going to be first or second. He's like, oh, I already knew he won the light heavyweight. I was comparing second and third. And then when he won the overall and beat the super heavyweight, weighing freaking 201 pounds on stage, 200 pounds on stage, I was just like, and he's full as a house. But like, that's a perfect example of real coaching, right? Where you don't adopt a methodology or dogmatic practices that you're just set to. You're looking at what you see. It doesn't make any fucking sense, but that's what I'm seeing. So we're just going to follow suit with that. And that's generally how I like prep guys as far as like peak week goes. Doesn't make any sense.
So yeah, that makes it really good if you have good phones because you can't be there all the time. Or are you like trying to be at every show?
Listen, I owe it to my guys who've been with me forever. You know what I mean? Like last year I traveled a shit ton to my client shows, but like I have a large percent of client retention. Like I think I only had 4 or 5 guys drop off last year. Everybody stayed with me. But last year,
that's
like,
very rare, especially for male coaches. The women oftentimes stay longer, even if they complain. They don't complain to the coach.
Yeah. Probably because I don't charge as much as most coaches do.
Oh, okay.
That's probably a little bit of the reason because I get fulfilled in this. I make enough money to be happy, and I just love doing what I'm doing. But last year I went to a lot of shows of the clients I've been for years, and like coincidentally, every show I went to, they all won. So it was awesome. You know what I mean? It's just like, I just kind of knew. I'm like, I'm going to be there for Jesse. I'm going to be there for Dom. I'm going to be there for my guys. And you go there and they just murder it. You know what I mean? And that's fulfilling. And this year I have a whole crazy schedule starting from travel with a lot of my guys that I've had for years. Because I want to be there, man. You get a guy who's been there for years and you're just like, man, I want to be there for this. You know?
Who are the most promising guys for you? And maybe also some that haven't done much yet, but you think they could?
Ooh, there's a lot. Well, it's like, obviously everybody knows Jordan, right? Ryan Foster is another one of my open pros.
I seen him California show last year.
Yeah.
He's a nice symmetry. Like,
I tell my guy, you get your shit together in the off season.
Cool classic poses.
Yeah, you get your shit together in the off season and you put on 10, 50 pounds of muscle on that body. I go, you're gonna be hard to beat, man. Because his waist is small, it's tight, it's flat, and his back is wide. You know, so it's like a few things you got to bring up. You're gonna be dangerous. That's one. I have a client in Ireland right now, Ben Gardner, and he's incredible. He's incredible.
Is he an open guy?
Yeah, he's an amateur. He's an amateur, but like he's got an incredible physique, and we're just dialed the fuck in at like 5 weeks out. Like we're so far ahead. Like I could have him ready in like 2 weeks. But like we're just in a perfect spot where like we're feeding him, pulling this out, feeding him. His sleeping's perfect. His fatigue is none. His cardio's out. You know what I mean? And we're just cruising. The body's just getting harder and grainier. I got a couple classic guys that looks like they're going to be pretty good. They might have trouble making weight cap this year though, because they had such a good off season. You know, you look at off season, you're like, hey man, we're like 30 pounds above weight cap right now, and you probably only have 15 pounds of weight to lose.
Shoot.
You know, you're like, fucking hell.
I had that problem.
Yeah. But I have a bunch of guys, and like I don't like to. Oh, who am I forgetting? Probably the biggest prodigy that I have right now. I'm gonna give him a shout out, Drew, the 21-year-old kid who just won his first show overall. He's probably the most.
Was he on Fuad's?
Crazy genetics. Fuad brought him up as a picture, be like, look at this dude. And he's 21, first show, and done like 3 cycles. Yeah. We get off the stage and the head judge comes over and he's like, hey, listen to me.
In over a decade of coaching, what I learned is you have to be able to ask the right questions and then know the proper answers. That's what I do best. If you want to find out more, get one of my 2 books I wrote on training, endocrinology, peptides. Sign up. If you want to join my coaching, links in the description below, or just message me on Instagram. Have a good one.
I judge a lot of shows. And he goes, I'm telling you this, you're far off from what I'm going to say to you, but I'm letting you know like this. I have not been surprised by someone's physique since Phil Heath. Okay. I go, if you keep your shit together, you don't get hurt. And I'm like, and I go, stay from toxic women. And he goes, yep, that right there, stay from toxic women. He goes, you can be something big. And Drew's a great kid. And he did a show. And
where's he from?
Tennessee. He's very coachable now that he gets it and he understands it.
Where do you live?
Texas. So when he was doing his first show, he was struggling kind of like, because, as a young kid, you're looking at social media, you're being drawn in multiple different ways of which direction to go, how to train. It gets confusing. And then now you're basing your decisions on, one, your experience, which is really lacking, right? And then two, what you read or what makes sense to you. And he wasn't getting it. So I'm like, bro, we have to do a show. He's like, I don't want to do a show. I'm like, you have to do a show. He's like, I don't think I'm ready. I'm like, dude, you're doing a show because you're not getting it. And he's like, I don't want to do one. He goes like, but I'll do it if you really think I should. He does it, does well, but now it's sunk in. And now his training, execution, his daily everything is fucking spot on. And then now he's like, now I understand why you want me to do the show. Because now I have super clarity of what you're saying. And now I believe it. And now it's just, I got to keep, young kids are hard to keep on a straight arrow because they're so full of piss and vinegar. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like, bro, you got to make your decisions right. You make your decisions right. You don't make all the mistakes that I used to make. You're going to be fine.
You think he has a good surrounding otherwise?
Yes. I think, he's got a good head on his shoulders. And now after the show, I believe like, it's not that he didn't trust me before, but now he really trusts me. He's like, when you're younger and you see older guys telling you shit, you're like, let's fuck this old guy now, And I know he respects me from, what I've done in the industry with my other clients and people who directed him towards me. But like, I think now he really understands it. And I need people to understand it. As you're coaching somebody and they're like, Coach, I don't really understand this exactly. I don't understand. But then you explain it, they're like, oh, okay. And then they follow it with more intensity and more enthusiasm. And it's just like, that's what you need,
Yeah, you need conviction,
Yeah, you need it. You can't just, one thing I hate about coaches today is someone was like, just follow the fucking plan. Just follow the plan. Are you striated? Are you glute striated? Shut up. You're dealing with fatigue. That's just dumb coaching, in my opinion, because there's some merit to understanding where the client is mentally. And if the client is not mentally where they need to be, the outcome is not going to be the best. It might be good enough, but it's not going to be great.
Yeah, that might work for a few clients that maybe grew up that way, but yeah.
Exactly. That worked with me because when I was younger, motocross guys yelling at me, telling me I suck on the bike. I'm like, I don't suck. I'm going to fucking ride harder. You know what I mean? Like some people don't have that. Some people do. But like, as you stated, you got to have to you got to understand the psychology of your different clients because they're all not the same.
There's one client you have that I also coach, Justin Musial.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Justin. Yeah.
What do you think is his goals this year and his prospect? I
think Justin's going to do pretty well this year. We've been working on the midsection. He sent me pictures today and I'm like, bro, your midsection right now, your ab and thigh is unbelievable. We were working on core control, bracing, specific movements to help him connect with his midsection on how to control it and be able to contract. Because sometimes the bigger guys have trouble identifying with their midsection and pulling it in a certain way. Like they don't have that control that Hadi does on stage, where Hadi controls his midsection, every transition, every pose, complete control. Because they're always focused on other body parts, not the midsection.
Yeah.
And then now it's just so much better. And we're in a great spot being 10 weeks out, body fat wise, and his back's better. Just a few more critiques with posing and a little bit more in the midsection. I think we're going to see a totally different package. I mean, condition for him, I don't foresee being a problem. For me, it's putting together the entire thing, making sure his digestion is on point where that stomach can be super flat. Because as you know, open bodybuilding now, they're nailing the midsection. That midsection's out for 1 second.
Yeah.
It's like Nick Walker did a pretty good job controlling his midsection, Arnold, but they caught him a few times.
Yeah.
They caught him riding dirty, and they point that out real quick. Even though in the pose itself, when they're calling it, he's hitting it, but sometimes they let it go.
What was really bad is just the ab and thigh, because he blew out before he sucked in, and he blew out and straight into the crowd.
Yeah.
And I think that was, but I was very impressed with him. I almost, I had him winning even.
Yeah.
Because I found it so overwhelming, the conditioning and the
muscularity.
Muscularity. But I see why he didn't, because at the end of the day, you have to kind of judge that down.
It's the shape is I think because the advent of classic, you could agree or disagree with me, it's kind of spewed to open a little bit more, where like the structure is having more merit, right? And when you look like back in the 90s, sometimes like some of the beautiful structures weren't being rewarded as much. And then now it's kind of coming back in hindsight where like that is a check mark they're looking for. That front relaxed frontal bicep, you know, that nice, beautiful taper, you know?
But it's not like if Nick would really like just have a wider waist but control it all the time, he could still win.
Yeah, yeah.
And I mean, he wins all the time. He just doesn't win the show, whereas like the 4 best guys in the world, he just gets second. Oh my God.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Who do you think? Sorry, what do you want to say?
I was going to say about the midsection, like Nick's mindset, I think is one of the best mindsets in bodybuilding, period. Like in bodybuilding, I feel that people that, I'm not saying Nick's delusional, but I'm saying like the delusional people who think they're way better than they are is a great mindset because they're not faltered by criticism, right?
Yeah.
And Nick is very convinced and confident that like tearing a muscle, all this horrible things everybody says to him on the internet every time he does poorly, which is ridiculous. And every time he wins, they're like, Nick should have won. Nick should have won. Nick loses. He should quit. He's going to die, you know? But Nick is still on an even keel. And like, do you know how many people, and you know the people you coach now that like one small thing goes wrong. Bro, I got brown rice cakes, not white rice cakes. I can't carb up on this. My day's ruined, right? And then you someone like Nick, who's like, people are talking shit to him on a daily basis. And he's just as even keel as can be. Like that is a champion mindset. And that's a mindset I feel like a lot of people don't have. I mean, even the top guys who do win, I would like to see them get criticized like Nick, fall like Nick, to see if they're able to get back up. And I bet you probably they won't be able to.
No.
You know, it's a one thing to fall hard, get back and come back versus stay on the top. You know how many champions in any arena were on top and the second they lose, they never get it back.
Yeah, Nick is also someone who I like you say, he takes the criticism and he can figure out what of that is valid, solid criticism, and then he works on it.
Yeah.
And the next time, whatever they said before, it's gonna, maybe he doesn't nail it, but it's gonna be better.
Yeah.
Like it's every time it's like, it was better than before. We told you that should be better, and it is. He comes back and makes this better.
Yeah.
Maybe not perfect, but
yeah,
always improvement.
Yep.
And that's very impressive. Like you can say
it's
what you want.
Super impressive.
Yeah.
Like, dude, it's like people should model themselves after that because as a champion mindset takes criticism and they take it, digest it, they work with it, move forward. Where like a loser's mindset will take it, feel like the victim, and then stew in it and feel like I'm not any good. Maybe I should not do this, and they lose confidence. They don't build themselves back up. You know, it's just like that's a mindset. I feel like a lot of my young guys, I try to tell them all the time, like, Chris, do I have potential? Your physique does, but do you up here? And are you going to make the good decisions in the next 10 years? You're young, bro. Everybody who's young makes terrible, dumb decisions. We all have. It just depends what decisions you're going to make. Women, training like an idiot, taking dumb drugs, making bad advice. Like these are all things that are in your way in front of you. Who cares how good your physique is now? It's going to be, that is going to entail down the line.
Yeah. When you think about, because we didn't talk much on supplementation and your food approach, so maybe you can get into protein amounts, sufficient protein amounts in your vegetable sources and your approach to nutrition that, like, a lot of people say you rotate stuff, you're big on fruits. What is your total whole approach on that?
Yeah, so to be as simplistic as possible. So protein is, I don't think, protein varies a lot. I don't have like everybody's 1.5 grams, everybody's 2 grams. Like I have some pros that are on 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight because one, their appetite's very poor, right? They're able to get more calories than when protein's a little bit lower. And I have other guys who are like, man, I'm hungry all the time. I'm like, bro, I can't give you more carbs than you are. You're going to get fat. So I will give them a little higher protein to help with their appetite, you know? But I also don't want the stomach being blown out. I mean, specifically, when you see some guys that are eating an absurd amount of protein, dude, their stomach's bigger. Their stomach is 100% bigger. You have a middleweight eating fucking 75 grams of protein per meal. It's like, come on, what are we doing here, right? Especially when carbs are sufficient. So like generally, I mean, it's hard to say in a calculation, but like I probably only have maybe a dozen guys who are above 240 pounds consuming more than 300 grams of protein? Maybe. I think most of the time it ranges between 250 and 300. And in an individualistic situation, such as poor appetite, bad digestion, or they're having difficulty getting any foods down, protein might get lower. And what I mean by that is like, you get a guy who's just missing meals, their appetite's complete trash. And it's like, bro, like, I'm gonna bring your protein down. And then you bring the protein down, you mix some rice, honey, and banana together in white rice, banana, and honey, and they're like, oh, I can eat this. And then they eat it, and then they feel better, and then their training's better. Great, now we're on that track again because training's better. So that's my philosophy around protein. 5 to 6 meals per day. You know, you don't need to do 6. 6 is more dependent on the length of time somebody's awake and of course what they're able to get down. But 5 meals tends to be, in my opinion, sometimes superior because you get a greater time fasting between meals, get your body to kind of like acclimate out versus repetitively eating over and over again. As far as variety of food goes, I think of staples, right? You have nutrient dense foods and then you have your energy. Cream of rice, honey, white rice, rice cakes, your energy. Extra calories riding. Sweet potato, oatmeal, fruits are your nutrient-dense foods, and obviously some energy. And you could almost say fruits could be over in this category too, but this is more of like manipulating up and down, trying to get body weight to go up and down. The amount of these probably never almost change ever, unless I need to, okay? Or there's a digestive issue, right? So it's very encouraged. I always tell them, like, you got to have some potatoes. You got to have some of these foods every day. You have to. You got to have a variety because fiber is important. The higher the calories get, the more fiber your body needs. You got to be able to move those stools. You got to be able to protect your digestion. And most importantly, you can't pigeonhole yourself into eating only 3 foods because, contrary to what some people say, if you lack variety of food in the diet over a long enough period of time, you're going to develop some type of digestive issues. There's going to be outliers that don't, and that has to do with genetics and your gut microbiome. But how many digestive issues happen in bodybuilding? All the fucking time. And now they're popping betaine, they're popping probiotics and digestive enzymes to combat a shitty balanced diet. Yeah. And to some degree, you need supplementation if calories get high enough and they have issues, but I don't really use any of those with any of my clients, any of those supplements, because I'm focused on manipulating the nutrition aspect to keep taste acuity high, their interest high, food moving, and their gut healthy. You keep the gut healthy, it'll keep assimilating food very well, very easily.
Yeah, you rather try to fix instead of put Band-Aids on.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. And like I said, man, rice, the energy thing is just, that's what I'm fluctuating in prep in off season to get their calories, their weight to move or up and down. And then these kind of staple foods kind of stay the same unless there's an individual problem with digestion or preference, you know? But I'm a big fruit guy. Like carb up, people got fruit in every single meal. Every single meal.
Are there subs that you think are underused and you use a lot with people?
I'm probably not underused because I feel like everybody's using the same shit. You know, citrus bergamot, you know, berberine, you know, vitamin D, fish oil. I'm not a big supplement guy. I think because I'm a dietitian, I'm master's nutrition, going through classes of supplements in mortality, morbidity rate in cancer survivor patients and supplements and alcoholism and all these things and seeing what the research does and the outcomes, and there's really not much.
What's your stance on L-carnitine and also maybe liquid L-carnitine? Because people say, oh, you have to inject it. And then I'm like, wait a minute. My calculation, if it doesn't mess with my digestion, is if I drink 3 grams of liquid L-carnitine and it's absorbed just at 15%, I have 450 milligrams. That's not little.
Dude, I honestly don't know because I don't use a carnitine with anybody.
Yeah. So you're not...
No. So like, okay, let's go down that rabbit hole of categories of like injectable B12, carnitine, sloop, all these different peptides and things like that. And like people were getting in shape for years without any of that stuff. And there is limited research on those things. And there's zero research when you combine everything together. Fucking zero.
Yeah.
So when someone's like, oh, there's research on SLU and research on this. Oh, is there? Is there research on using that dose with Clen, with T3, with androgens, with thousands and thousands of people? There's not. So like when I see weird things occur sometimes where the preparation trajectory is not where I want it to be, we're pulling all that shit out. Yeah. So some guys come to me and they're like, oh, I love this shit. Okay, we can keep it. It's fine. Consistency, right? But if it starts getting weird, I'm pulling that shit all out.
Yeah. Last year I used SLUPP and MOD-C. This year I'm using nothing.
Yeah, and dude, one thing like being in health, like people say, hey, how is being a dietitian, master's nutrition, and having a medical background, how does it affect your ability to coach? And honestly, like it's made me go away from polypharmacy, right?
Yeah.
Because I understand, I used to be married to a pharmacist. My dad's a physician. I'm able to ask my dad. I can call my dad right now. I'm like, Dad, what does this mean on this echocardiogram? And he'll explain to me, like, what do you think about this drug and this half-life? And like, my dad's a really good doctor. Not saying that he's my dad because he is. He's a knowledgeable person. He's not one of those doctors that will say anything if he doesn't know anything. He'll say, I don't know.
Yeah.
Right. So knowing that every single damn drug you take, there's a negative side effect, either you can see or not. And then you take multiple drugs together, there's possible interactions that you don't see, you don't know. So like, if things are going the way they need to do, I rather people spend the money and the attention they focus on things that work. I know Clen works. I know it does. Right? We know what T3 does. We know what it's the staple of androgens who've been in the center of the plate for decades and
Never
decades.
used T3, by the way.
But you know what I'm saying? But we know they work.
Yeah.
When you start introducing all these different things, like we don't know. And then like something weird happens and I don't have the experience or there are studies to be like, why is this happening? I'm just not into it, man. I've been prepping people since 2006, 2007. And like, I've gotten people in shape so many times, naturals or not, without any of this stuff.
Yeah.
So like, I look at it also as money spent. Most bodybuilders don't have a lot of money. Chris, what do I need? Well, we're going to focus on the top tier things that we
They
do
will
need.
always have money for the drugs. Not for the supplements, but
Yeah.
for the drugs.
But you know what I'm saying? Like I will focus on what is important.
Yeah.
And like people will ask me all these peptides and all this stuff. Like I love when people ask me about BPC and TB. Chris, what do you think? Do you have any injuries? Oh no. Wait, you know aches and pains? No. Think I should take it? No.
Yeah.
I heard I should be taking it because this guy at the gym said it's good for recuperation. No, it's not going to make you rebuild your muscle faster. Okay. Okay. Let's just move on from this. Save your money.
Yeah, that's crazy to me. Yeah, people just taking it because. Yeah. Yeah, it's like I'm also like with like I just said, like with T3, I'm always like, I don't need it.
No, I don't need it.
It works. I don't need it. And I've seen people take too much and lose all muscle.
Yeah.
So I'm like, if I don't need it, I'm not gonna take it.
Yeah. It's like 12.5, 25 micrograms at most.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's not gonna eat something away.
No.
But
yeah.
it's like, if I don't need it, I take L-tyrosine, I take my vitamins.
Maximize
should
thyroid
help
output.
me. Yeah. And,
if you're getting good sleep and you're not crash dieting, you're probably going to be fine.
I was crash dieting with good sleep.
Ha!
I did.
That usually doesn't go hand in
I did
hand.
a 2-week prep
That usually doesn't go hand
for
in
the
hand.
Utah show.
Did you really?
Yeah. But I was like fairly in shape. So I started like 221 and then weighed in with clothes 214. So I probably lost like 10 pounds.
Yeah. So you're right. You're right
in
there.
2 weeks. Yeah. But that was my 39th show. I've always prepped myself. So I kind of know how far I can push it.
Yes.
And I have my control things, like I can see what my sleep is really so have a lot of experience with my own body. So if I would let someone else do the same thing,
you probably wouldn't. You'd be like, I need to know this person's physique first.
I need to know it better. I mean, go ahead, hire me. We can try it out, but no promise that you might not crash and get sick.
I know, it's funny. It's funny what we do know with our own bodies and what we're able to do because we can read ourselves because we are ourselves.
Yeah.
We know versus you asking a client, are you fatigued? I'm okay. It's not what I asked. Are you fatigued? Are you sleeping fine? I'm sleeping enough. You know what I mean? Like it's the information you're able to get somebody out and their own perception of what they're feeling.
And the cool thing is like with devices like that, after a while, you can predict. You wake up and you're like, I was like a 74 tonight.
Yeah.
You know?
Isn't that funny?
And so if you never do that, you might wake up and be like, did I sleep that well or not? Like, I think it's okay. And then throughout the day, you'd be like, I don't think I slept good.
Yeah.
Or you wake up and like, oh, groggy, but you actually slept well. And then you realize later that you slept. So it's, and when you have these devices and some experience, it helps.
Experience and being able to understand what your body's telling you is first and foremost the most important thing ever. I remember David Henry years ago. I was asking him how he trains his back. And he was trying to tell me. And I'm like, why? I do your workouts. And he's like, kid, you don't get it. I'm like, I'm doing what you're doing. He's like, no, you're not. And I'm like, yeah, I am. He goes, you don't understand. He goes, the difference between me and you outside of genetics is I understand how to move weight. I understand how to interpret what my body's feeling and telling me and how to move. He goes, you don't. You're just blindly, mindlessly moving weight. With intensity, sure, but you're not doing the same thing. And in my head, I'm like, this dude's a dick. But like later down the line, I get it. But that's a hard seed to plant for people.
Yeah.
Because you're trying to verbally explain to them because you can't install the feeling of what for them to look out for. Yeah. It's just verbally explaining to them the cues and the signs to look out for. And hopefully in time, experience will let them know. Because too many people are blinded by what somebody else is doing, what they read. That makes sense to me, so I'm going to do that, when they should be paying attention to individualistic response to what they're already doing.
For me, also different muscles, even at the same rep range, even going to failure is different.
Yeah.
Like my legs, when I train them like 12 reps to failure, let's say, or I do it with my biceps, I feel my biceps got way more burned out.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. I totally get what you mean.
So with legs, I would be like, to get that burning out feeling, I need to do a drop set, or I need to do a rest pause set or something.
Yeah. Carry it to another level.
Yeah.
No, I agree. And that's the other thing too, or I had a client yesterday speak to me about training. He's like, I want to make sure I'm doing the right thing. And he goes, should I be doing 4 working sets for each body part? I'm like, I thought we kind of already went through this. So I was trying to explain to him, like, you can't just dogmatically be like 4 working sets for every body part. It doesn't work that way. He's like, I don't understand. Okay, you make an example of what you just said. You do 3 working sets of a biceps and your biceps are cooked. You do 3 working sets of the legs and you're like, my legs are fine. You might need to carry the intensity a little bit more for that given body part and how it's responding. Don't be so fixated on in theory or what this concept is. Pay attention to what your body feels and what it's telling you.
Yeah.
Because like you just said, I train body part times a little differently based on what it feels like.
Sometimes I'm like, I need to do drop sets now. I need an intensity technique because I want my legs to really friggin' burn out at least once. Like, I know I failed, but I need to fail.
Yeah. and especially this though, especially if you did the same thing the week before and you were fine the next day. Knees didn't hurt, legs weren't sore, CNS was intact.
Knees didn't hurt, it's really bad.
It's like, okay. Yeah, right. And then next week you're
Shit, my knees didn't hurt, let's pound them.
No, but you know what I mean. Like,
I know.
There's no negative, there's nothing response that you'd have to change your trajectory of what you're doing outside of pushing harder. In other words, if your knees hurt the next day, like obviously you got to change what you're doing to be a little different. But that's like the perfect example of like making the adjustments and having to do it because, I mean, you know, what's one really good thing to think about is some people like think that they should walk away from the gym feeling like they got cooked, right? Oh, I want to walk out of the gym feeling like I could barely walk out of the gym. Not always a good thing to think about.
To be honest, that barely happens to me. And people will be like, oh, you're a wuss. But I don't know.
It's not intelligent, dude.
I think you should just turn on the switch and then not keep pushing.
Right, but the thing with this, right? We're bodybuilders. We're training a muscle group. We're not training our whole body.
Yeah, that too.
If you go to the gym and you're moving weight with your entire body, you're going to be walking out of the gym barely, and you're not going to recover from that. So like, I get some people who are like, oh, I did 3 extra working sets today because I wasn't feeling like I was tired enough. I go, the muscle wasn't tired enough, or you physically weren't tired enough? Physically, I wasn't tired enough. Muscle was cooked. Bro, you did too much. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's where people get stuck with dogmatic viewpoints where they feel like that universal feeling has to be with everything.
I think there's a good rule of thumb if you like, I don't know what the best rule of thumb is actually in terms of, but if you get weaker throughout the session to a significant amount, I can't quantify it. What would you say? Like, then you're like, okay, I'm done because like I should be able to do whatever 225 for 10 and I'm doing 4 now, like I'm done.
100%. This goes back to high school when I was training with my buddy who's 4 or 5 bencher and I was getting weaker. It's like I'm doing what he's doing, but I'm legitimately getting weaker. Where I stopped training with him and I would do like half the volume and I started to get stronger. But I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Because there's a part where you're training, you might be doing high volume, but you still feel strong. The weight is still moving, pumps are still high. And then there's times you go to the gym and you're like, dude, those first 2 exercises cooked me. And now weight just feels really heavy. I'm done.
Yeah.
Like my CNS is done. It's done. and I'll just be like, you know what, today I'm just going to call it out. And the next day you're like blistering sore.
Yeah.
You know, that's a good point to make where like, you know, that most likely will happen with your beginning lifters, but like advanced people who've been training for 15 years, like that's less likely to happen unless it's totally new stimulus, because like that type of drop, I haven't felt in a long time, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Where you're just like,
yeah, it was just an example. Like
Yeah.
it could have been 7 instead of 10.
That used to happen in my chest all the time.
Yeah.
After 2 pressing exercises, like, dude, my chest is cooked.
It happens a lot when you, like your endurance, when you're in prep and when you don't have that much strength, that it feels like, oh, I could have like 4 or 5 reps more. And then you're like, next
Stop.
rep, you're like,
Done.
shit.
Yeah.
Doesn't move.
Done. Yeah.
And you're like, huh?
Yeah, done.
Felt like I have 4 more.
Yeah, that doesn't mean I'm going to do 3 more working sets to make up for the reps lost.
Yeah.
Or some people are like, I did an extra 2 working sets because I couldn't get the same as last week. That's a sign your body's done.
Roman Fritz had an interesting technique or like system he talked about one time. He was like, I'm going to do so many reps with this weight. And if I need to do a break in between, I'll do a break in between. So if I want to do 12 reps on the side laterals and I have to do 7-3-2, I'll do 7-3-2. I get to 12.
Yeah, let's keep the volume exactly the same.
Yeah.
Despite
but
the
if
muscle.
you have to split it up too much, you'll be like, nah, you don't.
Yeah. It's funny. It's like
I wonder if he was like, no matter what, like I could be cooked.
Knowing Roman, probably no matter what.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Yeah.
Yeah, there's something to be said about that, you know, but the same thing is like people hear that and take it out of context. They'd be like, I have to do 4 or 5 for 30 reps. You know what I mean? Sitting there all afternoon trying to get 4 or 5. These people take things out of context all the time when they see a certain training philosophy and they just run it the other way.
Yeah, I think this is one of the dumbest things to train for is like, oh, I train for 100 reps of pull-ups.
Oh, I know.
Oh my God.
Don't get me started
Please
on that.
don't do this 100 reps.
Don't get me
whatever.
started on that shit. I can't. I'm like, dude, why? Why? Well, we thought it would be cool. Why is it cool? Do it in the off season, dude. Don't do it in prep.
Yeah, do it one time every few months if you're
For having fun.
Yeah, it might be a good stimulus at one time.
Yeah. But like we've all done stuff before. Like we do this absurdity in leg day, and your legs are sore for like 13 days. You know?
I remember when I started training, I did a bro split. Do you know Pit Trents?
No.
He was Marcus Rule's last trainer.
Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah.
He was the only guy who ever coached me, and it was right in the beginning. So I was smart enough. Like the first year, I had someone, not like after 10 years of bull crap.
Yeah.
And what did I want to say?
Oh, about recovery doing too much. And Marcus Rule's trainer.
Doing too much. Why did I say that, man? Oh yeah, because back then I did the bro split, and I really couldn't walk for 5-6 days almost. Like I was like just about okay the next leg day, and I haven't had that in forever.
Bro, it's brutal.
But these like you were like, oh my God, I have to shit. I have to sit. No.
Or worse, you drive in a car for like an hour and you have to get out of the car. You're like, oh my God.
I had no driver's license, but yeah, I mean, you can still sit down. Yeah, man, that was, but it's kind of cool to have had that.
Oh, for sure.
To know it, because it's kind of like this. You have to do it once or twice. Or
No,
you have
I
to
agree.
kind of test your limits and stuff.
I'm glad you said that. I had this conversation the other day about like, I think it's important to train somebody that's completely out of your league for you to know that there's different levels to everything.
Yeah.
You think you train hard, you don't. There's somebody out there who doesn't even have Instagram who's running circles around your leg workout, right? So it's like being exposed to that type of intensity just to let you know where your limit really is. And then you can kind of bring that to your current normal training.
Yeah.
Because sometimes a lot of guys are just stopping when it's a little uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, some people are just so much stronger than that they will just break you down because you're going to use more weight than you actually can.
Yep.
So you're going to do more intensity than them actually.
Yeah.
You just don't realize you do less weight, but you're way more intense.
Yeah.
Because you're trying to match something you couldn't possibly match. So I thought about this, and it's funny because he's a natural guy. Keithy, I think West, he's also here for Gasp, and he's a natural bodybuilder, and he's really big for a natural. Like he could probably win like classic shows. Maybe he could even turn pro. And he's like, he deadlifted next to me when I did the stiff leg deadlifts yesterday, and he just one plate more, and he just takes the weight up. It's plyometrics, like he just throws it against the roof and again on the ceiling, and he's doing over 800 pounds for reps.
That's crazy. Yeah, I had a natural guy, Andrew Schwab, and
he trains also 6 times a week.
Yeah, oh yeah, I believe it. Yeah. And that's where the outliers are, guys. And that's why we can't model ourselves after the outliers. It's like we're not exactly going to modify our basketball training program to LeBron James's program when we're just a local NBA,
But
local
that's what
team.
people do, dude.
People do that.
How did Ronnie Coleman train? Oh, I'm going to start training like him when I have zero experience and never
That's crazy.
seen a weight.
I want to be a good cyclist. I'm going to start the mileage at Lance Armstrong's going 120 miles a week. You're going to make it 2 weeks.
2 weeks, one day, man.
Yeah. It's funny that bodybuilding seems to be one of the only sports that people do that.
I think it's because it seems easy. It looks easy.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I can do that. I can get that machine. I can lift that.
And I think social media has it's made people believe that it's right there. It's attainable.
Yeah.
It's like people have no idea how far that is.
Yeah, and they always think like, oh, if I would take the drugs, I would look the same. And it's like, so you think all these bodybuilders that are not on top are just not taking the amount of drugs the others do? So they just like, nah, I don't want to get there because I'm like so conservative on the drugs. Because
dude, it's weird.
It's like, how long did you think about that?
Think about they just make themselves feel better. That's just an inadequacy thing. I mean, that's like meeting a billionaire and be like, you know what? If I worked as many hours as you, I'd be a billionaire too. Then why aren't you a billionaire? Just because it's a simple choice, right? If it's that easy.
Or you'd be like, I work 60 hours a day, a week. How long do you work? And they're like, oh shit.
Yeah. So it's funny how that type of thing works out. Is just, people do like, oh, if I rode every day like that, no, you wouldn't, dude, because there's so many people doing the same thing, trying to be like them, and they're not.
Yeah.
If it was that easy, just taking more drugs, training more, eating more, it would be a mathematical equation by the time you and I are 300 pounds. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It doesn't work that way.
Yeah, people want to think that, or they don't want to admit that they might be not as talented. It's hard on their egos.
Oh, I break it to them real quick.
Huh?
I break it to them real quick. I always use the car analogy. You heard my car analogy? I go, listen, because I've had people come to me, hey man, like, I want to be full like that guy. I'm like, bro, that's his flat. That's your full.
Yeah.
What drugs is he using? I'm like, bro, he's using less bullshit. Listen to me. You buy a Honda Civic off the lot, okay? You buy a Porsche 911 Turbo off the lot. Porsche 911 Turbo will smoke that Civic. Bro, you're a Civic. I go, you might need to do a lot of modifications to your car to make it even close to that Porsche stock, and it's never going to be that good. So the more modifications you put in your Civic, what does that also do to the life of the engine? Less. And this guy was over here who just put on new tires, and now he's sticking to the road even better, and he's burning you. Some people are just better than you, and that guy's better than you. And unfortunately, that's the name of the game.
Exactly.
Especially in bodybuilding, bro. Like, you know, it is, you get to the certain level, genetics, they're working hard, obviously, but like genetics.
You can also not, like, even just bone structure, like you're going to break all your bones to match the other guy. There's people that have, everyone's like, how does he have such a wide back? And you're like, well, dude, that's his structure too. Like,
look at when he's 12 years old, he had a V-taper. You know what I mean?
It's like, this won't happen to you.
No, that's what I'm saying. I want to build a back like that. You can't.
You were born fridge.
Yeah.
You can make it better, but it's not ever going to look like that.
Yeah, it might be a bigger, more muscular fridge, but it's not going to be that V-taper. And I don't understand why people just don't quite understand those genetics, because it's like, it's like, you know what it is. I'm sure you, and same with myself, when I very first started coaching people, I understood genetics, not like I do now, because now that you've worked with this many people, you look at certain people and how they respond to things, and you're like, Jesus, dude, wow, freaking wow. And like, at one point I was kind of pissed about it. I'm like, motherfucker, this guy's eating Burger King, fucking dicking around, running out of gear in the middle of his fucking prep cycle, and he gets on stage, doesn't practice posing, and no tan, and he wins. And then this guy was over here doing everything perfect the entire year and loses. Like, this is bullshit. But now I'm like, and now I'm fascinated by it. Yeah. Now I'm like, let's see what this guy can do.
I'm always like, when people are like, he's not natural, I'm like, bro, you don't understand.
Could be.
You don't understand. Like, there's people, like, if those, they're Ronnie Coleman's and not taking stuff.
Oh, I know.
And they're running around, and there's probably a lot that don't even lift. Like there's so much potential that never gets fulfilled.
Yeah, so much. At least social media now is kind of dragging a lot of those genetic freaks out of the woodwork.
Yeah.
Because obviously they look at social media and they go, I kind of have a structure like that. And then people at the gym like, hey man, you should compete. And you're like, maybe I should. And then they go try it, versus if social media wasn't there, they weren't exposed to it, they wouldn't probably be incentivized to do it. Because like when I first started competing in 2005, like there's obviously some good guys, but like I still think the talent pool is not as great as it is now. I just don't think it is.
Yeah.
You could argue way more people were more conditioned overall at a local show. Like my first light heavyweight class, there was 21 people in a local show in the open light heavyweight, 21. And I would say half of them were all ripped. Now you go to a show, it's like 2 light heavyweights, one's got fat glutes. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But
it's also maybe classic takes away a lot.
Oh, classic and men's physique.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's just now
if it wouldn't exist, they have to go to open.
Yeah.
Or they're not even existing.
Yeah, 100%.
Could also be.
Yeah. And plus there's more shows now, so everything's distributed differently. Back in 2005, there was only 3 shows to choose from in the fall. And that was like within a 4-hour driving distance.
Yeah.
And now it's like there's a show every single weekend.
Yeah, that's also the thing. Like, oh, the shows were so much deeper back then. It's like, yeah, because there were 2 shows, bro.
Yeah, everybody showed up. Everybody's going to the Gold's Gym Classics in New Jersey.
You have no choice, man.
Yeah.
The show has to be deep.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
That was a good time. I mean, dude, there's so many things. I try to tell my clients all the time, man, like, don't make the same mistakes I did. And I can tell you from experience, from helping clients and my own self, like, you don't want to do that. And there's so many things listed in that list. It's just like, compete more, like, be smarter with your training. Don't be so swayed. Learn more about your body and how it responds. Don't be so dictated to dogmatic practices and viewpoints of things, you know, like, and you can go so much further than me, you know what I mean? And I want that for my clients. I'm like, you can do that, but you just trust me.
Yeah.
You know?
But people will trust in you. Even though I don't like it, because I'm like, that sounds like God, bro. You can't do it.
Oh.
You can't do it. You make yourself an idol. No, but yeah. But you have to. That's the cool thing. And I think that's why you're also getting so much, positive feedback in so many clients, because people are like, hey, this guy's legit. Kind of like Dom in that realm.
Yeah.
You're the health guys that still get people making progress.
Yeah.
And when people are smart, they choose that route and not like the guy that's just pounding shit. I mean, there's the people will go where they know they get what they kind of want.
Oh, agreed.
When they want to pound a bunch of drugs,
agreed,
they come to you and you'll be like, and then they were like, yeah, no, I'll go someone else.
You're 100% right, because every single inquiry I get, they go, Chris, I want to be successful at this, but I really want to be alive in 10 years. And I know you have a reputation for being more health oriented. And what does that entail exactly? And like, I usually have like these things like, dude, if you're 30 years old or you're 25 and you're above 250, get an echocardiogram just to see where you're at. So you have a baseline, or you can find some underlying issues, because over the last year, I probably had my clients up around 30 or 40 echocardiograms overall. And 2 of them found some genetic defects that are serious.
Oh.
Yeah. So it's kind of like, ooh, I didn't know that. You should know that now, because now you're a race car putting modifications into your engine, and you can get this sorted out and figure out and rule it out. And one of them had to stop competing because it was a legit heart defect with with the valves not opening and operating correctly, and the amount of ejection fraction.
You would have died. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. So it's like, dude, it's simple. It's a simple test. It's not the end of the world. And then getting your coordinator calcium score is important to see if you already have some plaque already starting at an early age. I mean, obviously, most people aren't going to have anything in their 20s.
What does that cost, both of them?
$100 for a coordinator calcium score, 100 and 150. You don't need a referral. I don't know about New Jersey, New York, but most of the time, an imaging place will take you in for a coordinator calcium score for 100, 130 bucks. You get the results within 3 days. And then the doctor will give you the write-up. And then if it's serious, then you take it to your doctor or cardiologist to see if you need to take action on what's going on or any further testing. Echocardiogram could be anywhere from $400 to $800 if you're paying out of pocket, but you need a referral for that. And you're not going to go into a doctor's office and bark an order and he's not going to give you an echocardiogram.
Yeah.
You're going to have to word it a certain way. And like my father told me, he's like, look, if a guy comes into me, starts barking tests, I'm not going to order for him. Insurance is not going to cover it. I'm just going to order an echocardiogram for a 25-year-old young person who's in shape. the insurance company's going to go kick rocks. I'm not ordering this.
Yeah.
But if you have a heart murmur, history of a heart murmur, you complain of shortness of breath upon exertion, that might warrant them to trigger either a stress test or order an echocardiogram, which insurance might cover it.
Use like, I have symptoms.
Yeah, you have symptoms. Or you go the other route. You'd be like, hey, doc, I'm bodybuilding. It's not the healthiest thing in the world. I'm exiting, even though you might not be. And, my dad got an echocardiogram a couple years ago and it was very abnormal. And I noticed I feel a little weird upon exertion. Do you think I should get an echo? Kind of plant the seed? You know what? Maybe we should. Let's do an echo, see what's going on.
Yeah.
And then you can get some basic
Yeah,
stuff.
they don't want you to die on their watch, so.
Yeah, and it's how you word it too. But managing blood pressure is easy. It's very easy. You might need medication. You might need to take some over-the-counter supplements. You might need to adjust the diet. You might need to change your compounds. But that's an easy thing and very preventable and very inexpensive. And then same with managing blood glucose. Those are two things that a lot of guys just don't do. And unfortunately,
and estrogen, a lot of people, like I see these gyno coaches that they're like, oh, D-bol and Deca worked for me. I put everyone on D-bol and Deca and half of them get gyno. I'm like, dude, all your clients have gyno.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I've seen like some of these coaches, I see like every other guy of them has gyno. Like, aren't they embarrassed?
Yeah, dude. It's like in most, you ever get the clients though, they're very gyno sensitive and it's just like they run 400 mgs a test, they have gyno problems. And it's just like, they're just estrogenic. They just have it genetically through puberty. And it's like, bro, they're how to manage this. I'm like, you just got to get it removed.
Yeah.
That's going to be the best option, is get it removed. But it's like, as much as like, in closing statement to like health stuff, and people always go, I can't believe all these bodybuilders are dying. I know why. Because I know what people are doing behind the scenes. And I know they're not getting health checkups like they say they are. They're ignoring signs. I know they're not getting lab work, or they get lab work. They're like, I'm fine. Or they'll get lab work and they ask the next person to find the person that says, it's okay. Keep going.
Yeah.
Like a long time ago, Andrew Vu messaged me. He's like, hey man, watch out for this guy because he's been going around. He has congestive heart failure and he wants somebody to coach him for bodybuilding because he cooked his heart bodybuilding. And he's only 30 years old and he has like 4 kids. And he's going from coach to coach to coach to find somebody who'd help him. And Andrew's like, man, I can't help you. And he went on from me, I can't help you. And he finally found somebody who'd help him. That's fucked up. He's going to die. He'll die. And then people are like, oh my God, they can't believe they're dying. Yeah, because people are doing dumb shit. They're doing legit dumb shit. And they're not looking at their family history. They're not looking at anything preventative. They're not being careful what they're doing. They just think that they have to do full throttle right to the and that's it. That's it.
That was legit Hitler salute. It was the right arm even.
I didn't even know that.
Oh man, we got to close it with a Hitler salute, man.
But dude, that's like, it's for preventable, dude. People, you can still grow muscle. My clients are doing fine. They're growing on tissue and they're not doing dumb things. And I think that's like, you don't need to be completely belligerent and put your health at risk to grow muscle. You can grow muscle without doing that. You just have to actually have a coach that actually gives a shit, because a lot of coaches don't give a shit. They just want you to be a good billboard for them, period.
Yeah. If they don't ask for any data, then go to the next one.
Bro, how many clients you ever had come in? Oh, you're asking for blood pressure? I go, yeah, why? I've never had a coach ask that before. I'm like, bro, you're 60 years old and you've been bodybuilding for 20 years. What?
Yeah.
What? That's fucking insane. I'm like, now I'm concerned. What damage have you done prior to me? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, guys, Chris, thank you so much. Man.
Yeah, absolutely.
That was really cool. We covered a lot.
Yeah, we did.
And
yeah, we did.
I hope you guys enjoyed it. And I hope you guys subscribe. Also follow my, unfortunately, new Instagram because I was banned.
Me too at one point, yeah.
Oh, yeah, shit. Yeah, and follow Chris, and everything's in the description anyways. So always, if you need information on what we talked about, the description always tells you a lot. And keep posting comments, questions, maybe something was unclear, maybe you have further questions. Chris might also look in the comments and respond to one or two or three or all of them. And thank you so much for tuning in. Subscribe. See you next time.
See you there, guys.
Thank you, bro.
Awesome.
Good.
Major announcement, guys. The Peptide Encyclopedia is now to download. Check out the link in the description or the pinned comment, or go on my link tree. And the Anabolic Handbook is also available. all the compounds from A to Z broken down into benefits, downsides, administration, and so on. One favor I got to ask you though, if you could subscribe to this channel to help it grow, to get the highest caliber people on this podcast, that would be amazing. Thank you so much. Now on with the episode.
Go ahead, also check out my third book, Science of Aging. It is about understanding and really implying what you can do in order to age better and improve your health span. Check it in the link tree now.